Alrighty, Bainshie here with a few tools that I've built to make my Unity speedrunning easier that I thought maybe people would like to see yourselves. So, obviously the easy stuff is the layouts and the splits. These are all just stuff that I use in general. Episode is for when I want to see more than one things, when I'm not doing in-level runs, and single is just for in-level runs, the layouts. And these are just the automatic episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, and Doom 2. With anything that says full includes the secret levels, and normal does not include the secret levels. So going on from there to the more complicated fun stuff, we have the two sets of scripts. You've got the ASL scripts, which is your auto splitter, and the auto hotkey, which kind of automatically starts it and makes your run to be a valid run very quickly. The auto loader is a script that is called auto hotkey, which you want to download from autohotkey.com. This is an exceptionally useful little program, especially if you're doing anything repetitive on a computer. If even outside of this is worth learning, picking up and knowing how to run a few scripts, because it will save you so much time. Just download the current version, run that, and it'll be fine. You will need to run this as an administrator, which can be done either from your app or from the actual script itself. So you run as administrator, click yes. Mine's already running, so I click yes again. And that script is now loaded. So what this script does is very, very simple. It basically restarts the game as fast as possible and starts your timer. You'll notice I've got my speedrun timer down here. So if I open up Doom, what it effectively does is it goes to load, looks at what the first one is, shows the information, so it's now a valid speedrun for basically all categories, turns that off, and then runs it. And then once you're in this state, as soon as you click the left mouse button, it'll start the timer. Now, if you're wanting to know how this looks in normal, once you press the script, it does this. And you'll see it has now started. It is worth noting, when you press it again, it just automatically stops the timer for you. Now, there is one thing to mention for this, is that obviously this auto script assumes you are using certain key bindings. With the ones that I've got set up, is the script is triggered by pressing the / key, the one that's next to the Z on UK keyboards. Numpad 1 is stop, and numpad 3 is split. Now, of course, if you want to change them, you can do so in the script itself. If you go into the script, you can right-click, and you can either open with Notepad, or I prefer to use Notepad++ because I'm, sane, and you'll see something like this. Anything after a little semicolon is a comment, and I've commented out the areas which you'll need to change if you want to change your hotkeys. The first one, which is this little thing that I've highlighted here, is whatever key you use to trigger your key. So if you wanted to be the letter P instead, you just change it there. If you want it to be like H, etc., etc. Letter H, etc., etc. In addition, you have the timer stop, which here is numpad 1. Again, you can change it to whatever you want. And numpad 3, which is your timer start hotkey. Lastly, but not leastly, although I'm assuming everybody's using the fire button to start the map, if that isn't what you use, replace this one here, the L button. For the vast majority of keys, you're just replacing it with whatever the key binding is, but for special keys, you want something like control, you can find them here on autohotkey.com docs keylist, which I'll put in the video list down below, which you'll see it basically shows you all lists of what the buttons are named. So left button, L button is for your first button, R button is for your right mouse button, M button, middle button, etc., etc. There's lots of different stuff you can do with it. This can get a very complicated system, but for most people, just change it to whatever your key bindings are. So, and this works in conjunction with the auto splitter. Now again, the auto splitter, it is loaded by going into edit layout, adding control, scriptable auto splitter. Let's double click that and then browse. At which point you want to use one of these two. Regular just splits it once. intermission adds an intermission version. Personally, I've just used regular, but I've added both in there just in case you want. So you add that in there, you'll see it's seen both split and reset. Click OK. Click OK. And that has been loaded. So that now means that it will hook into your Doom and Doom 2. So if I do this, and I've started the timer, you'll see it automatically splits for me. Now, to debug this, if for some weird reason the auto splitter isn't working for you, what you can go do is look online for an add-on called ASL VAR Viewer. You install it, and you can set it to set the value game mode, which will basically show you the value that I'm looking for on my splitter. Now, if you want to, if it's working, aka it's hooked in correctly and there's some other problem going on, it should show you 0 when you're in a game or in a demo like this, 3 when you're in the main menu. Let me, like so, and it should show you 1 when you have completed the game, so when you're in the intermission. Like so. It does show you 2 at the end of the kind of the cutscene boss areas, but that doesn't really matter. If it's not working for you and you've installed that, the numbers should show up like that. If it doesn't, that means I've got the wrong pointer and for some weird reason it's fucking getting wrong. Secondly, for these scripts, although it should work on everybody's computer, obviously I've only been able to test this on my computer because I'm the only person who's done this. And what you might need to do is update these sleep values. This basically says how long it takes for each of the individual areas to do its thing in milliseconds. I found around about 20 milliseconds is the lowest I could get it. I'm assuming that should be the same for everybody, since the loading timing shouldn't be that much slower unless you're running this on like a potato. But if you are running this on potato, you might just need to increase all of these numbers a little bit to make the script a bit slower so it's not tripping over itself. One last thing to note for this is there is a weird bug that I have noticed with the script. Every now and then, it will hit the point in which the menu doesn't appear when you press the escape button. You hear the sound in the background, and I think it's when the Bethesda Online network decides to interrupt while I'm doing my thing and just get confused and doesn't know what the hell it's doing. The simple way to fix that is just load an autosave. If you load a quick save, it actually fixes that menu bug. So yeah, these are a set of tools I've created. See if you can get them working, because it'd be fantastic to see if we can help some other people. There are a few other things that I'm thinking of trying to look into, like seeing if there's some way to generate races for streamers to race against each other without me having to fork out a shit ton of money for servers. But that is something that might be coming up. Thanks a lot. This has been Bainshie.